And we are live.
Thank you very much. I'll now call to order this special city council meeting. And tonight we have Deputy Clerk Chris Gauthier providing clerking services with the assistance of Melanie Figueredo. So, Mr. Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Councillor Van Tilborg. Present. Councillor Carpenter.
Here.
Councillor McCurry.
Here.
Councillor Sless.
Present.
Councillor Sullivan.
Present.
Councillor Samwell.
Here.
Councillor Hunt.
Present.
Councillor Martin.
Here.
Councillor Caputo.
Present.
Councillor Sokoli.
I am here.
And Mayor Davis.
Present.
Through the chair, roll call has been taken.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Clerk. So we'll now move to item 2, declarations of conflict of interest. Does anybody have a declaration of pecuniary interest regarding any item appearing on tonight's agenda? I will personally declare a conflict in respect to item 7, notices of motion. That matter potentially has a pecuniary impact upon me personally, so I will not be participating in the debate. And in fact, prior to us reaching that point in the meeting, I'll be passing the chair over to Councillor Martin, who is the mayor of the month in November. So with that, we'll move to, we have no registered delegations or presentations this evening, and we've got one proclamation on tonight's agenda. And I believe Councillor Samwell, you have if you move the proclamation, state your seconder, and then please also read the proclamation aloud.
Item 4.1, International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women, November 25th, 2022, seconded by my ward mate.
Can you actually read the proclamation
Yes.
for us?
All right. Whereas violence continues to be the greatest gender inequality rights issue for women, girls, gender diverse individuals, and whereas November is Women Abuse Prevention Month, and whereas gender-based violence is a human right issue, which our community must work together to address through education and public awareness, and whereas 1 in 3 women will experience gender-based violence in their lifetime, and these numbers increase exponentially for Black, Indigenous, and women of color. And whereas COVID-19 pandemic has increased barriers to support and services for survivors of gender-based violence and their children. And whereas last year in Ontario, every 13 days, a woman or a child was killed by a man known to them, with a majority of them being their current or former intimate partner. And whereas this month and throughout 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, we acknowledge our community's support for the Wrapped in Courage campaign and commitment to ending gender-based violence. And whereas on November 25th, the International Day of Elimination of Violence Against Women, a Wrapped in Courage campaign flag will be raised in recognition that the courage of a woman alone is not enough. It takes an entire community to end gender-based violence. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brantford hereby proclaims November 25th, 2022 as the International Day of Elimination of Violence Against Women in the City of Brantford, and urges all citizens to recognize this day by taking action to support survivors of gender-based violence and to become part of Ontario's province-wide efforts to end gender-based violence.
Thank you, Councillor Samwell. I'd also indicate that the flag raising has been scheduled for this Friday at 1 p.m. Harmony Square. So that's been moved and seconded. Madam Mr. Deputy Clerk, would you please take the vote?
Item 4.1, International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, carries unanimously on a recorded vote. Members of the committee voting in favor are as follows: Councillors Sullivan, Sless, McCurry, Carpenter, Van Tilborg, Samwell, Hunt, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, so we have one committee report before us this evening. If I can get a mover and seconder to have the items placed on the floor coming out of our appointments committee report. Moved by Councillor McCreary, second by Councillor Sullivan. Does anybody want any of the three items separated for discussion purposes? Seeing no request for separation, I'll now ask the clerk to call the vote on the three items. If you could please, first of all, state the name of the three items, Mr. Clerk.
Through the chair, the following reports are subject to the vote. 5.1.1, City Advisory Committee and Task Force Review Report. Item 5.1.2, nominating subcommittees for citizen appointments. And item 5.1.3, appointment of members of council to various committees, boards, and advisory committees of council and task forces.
All right, so with, please take the vote and some yes.
All committee reports are carried on a recorded vote of 10-0. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillors Sullivan, Celeste, McCreary, Carpenter, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Hunt, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, so there are no resolutions on tonight's agenda. We'll move to notices of motion where I previously declared conflict. So I will now absent myself from the council chamber, and Councillor Martin, if you would please take over the chairing role.
We have one motion to waive the rules. Councillor Carpenter, you want to state your seconder and proceed?
Thank you. Motion to waive the rules by myself and seconded by my ward mate, Councillor Linda Hunt. And 7.1, recount of votes for office of mayor. That's section 15.11.5 and 15.3.12 of chapter 15 of the City of Brantford Municipal Code be waived in order to introduce the following resolution without prior notice of motion, without having been considered at a committee of the whole or a standing committee. Whereas on October 24th, 2022, the municipal election for the 2022-2026 term of council was held in the City of Brantford. And whereas on October 25th, 2022, the city clerk certified the results of the municipal election for the City of Brantford. And whereas pursuant to the certified results, the city clerk, the successful candidate, and the mayor, and the runner-up for the office of mayor were separated by 208 votes. And whereas pursuant to section 57-1 of the Municipal Elections Act 1996, within 30 days after the clerk's declaration of results, the council municipality may pass a resolution requiring a recount of the votes cast for all of the specified candidates for an office on the council. And whereas pursuant to section 57.2 of the Municipal Elections Act 1996, the clerk shall hold a recount within 15 days of the passing of a resolution of council. Now therefore resolved that the Council of the Corporate City of Brantford hereby orders the city clerk to recount the votes cast for the office of mayor. And speaking to the reason for the notice of motion to waive the rules is in order for us to move a notice of motion, we have to first have it presented at a committee of the whole, and then again heard at the next committee of the whole. And there isn't such thing existing between two committee of the wholes before it can be heard before the 30-day time limit as per the act. So that's why the resolution to waive the rules is here, and it requires 2/3 vote.
Any further discussion on the motion to waive the rules? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. Keeping in mind it does require the 2/3.
We're just waiting for your vote.
If you'd like, I could enter your vote in the system for you. Is it a yes or? The motion to waive the rules is lost on a tie vote of 5-5. Members voting in favor of the motion to waive the rules are as follows: Councillors Sullivan, Carpenter, Van Tilburg, Samwell, Hunt. Members opposed, Councillors Sokoli, Caputo, Martin, McCreary, and Sless.
Okay. Brings us to bylaws. As a reminder, some staff are participating in this meeting virtually and are not on site. Should a bylaw be amended on the third reading, we'll need to defer the bylaw to the next meeting in order for the amendments to be made. First and second reading. Councillor McCreary, I believe you have the first and second reading.
Yes, Chair, thank you very much. Moved by me, seconded by Councillor Sless, that all bylaws having received a first and second reading. Sorry, I've got the third reading here in front of me. Let me go to this screen. The leave be given to the mover and seconder to introduce the following bylaws for first and second. 165/2022 to appoint members of council to various committees, boards, and task forces for the 22 to 26 term of council, and 166-2022, the bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the corporation of the city of Brantford with respect to the special meeting held just now.
Okay. Anybody want any separations for the bylaws? Seeing none, no comments, we'll call the vote.
The first reading of all bylaws carries unanimously on a recorded vote of 10-0. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillors Sullivan, Sless, McCreary, Carpenter, Van Tilburg, Samwell, Hunt, Martin, Caputo, and Sokoli.
Okay, brings us to third reading. According to my notes, Councillor Hunt has the motion for third reading.
Yes.
If you could turn your microphone on, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by my ward mate, Councillor Carpenter, that all bylaws having received the first and second reading be taken as read a third time and finally passed and signed by the mayor and the clerk.
Thank you. Any separations, questions, comment? Councillor Carpenter.
Yes, just, there's only two bylaws. Separate, please.
You just want a separate vote? You don't want any comments?
Just separate vote, yes.
Okay. Seeing nothing further, we'll call the vote on the first one.
The third reading of bylaw 165-2022 carries unanimously on a recorded vote. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillors Sullivan, Sless, McCreary, Carpenter, Van Tilburg, Samwell, Hunt, Martin, Caputo, and Sokoli.
Okay, and the second bylaw?
The third reading of bylaw 166/2022 carries on a recorded vote of 9-1. Members of council vote in favor are as follows: Councillors Sullivan, Sless, McCreary, Van Tilburg, Samwell, Hunt, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli. Members opposed, Councillor Carpenter.
Thank you. And that concludes our business